You were on the surface finally. You had lived in the underground for a good 3 years. Frisk, of course, managed to get out of the underground, freeing all monsters to the surface, without killing anyone or going through several hardships that they had to many times before you fell. And, well, let's just say time skip into a couple of years later where, you and Sans hit it off. You live with Sans and Papyrus, and Frisk lives with their mom, and things are going great. Until an accident happened. Papyrus got into a very bad accident. Sometimes on the surface they have protests against monsters reaching the surface. Some humans really didn't like the fact that monsters were free. And of course monsters would just ignore them, because they never really got violent. But there was this one time one got violent. They had a shotgun and shot it at Papyrus. Instead of him missing it, or it hit directly at his chest, sending him flying, Alphys just about saved him. He didn't turn to dust, but she did class that he was in a current comatose state. His soul is incredibly unstable, and she doesn't know what more to do than keep him in this comatose, unstable state. She knows if she interferes or tampers with his soul anymore, it could break. It's fragile. Papyrus is like an older brother to you. You got to know him really well with Sans. Sans is broken, though. He never left his brother's side. He stayed by his side 24/7, all the time. You tried to offer him food. He refused. First tried to offer drinks, or for him to sleep, or just to look after Papyrus when he has a break, but he did not respond nor react. He just sat there, staring at Papyrus. 2 weeks have passed, and he still sat there. You felt terrible. You were unable to help your boyfriend. You didn't know what to do. There was this one time you went to offer Sans at least a coffee or something to help him. Toriel and the rest have failed many times trying to offer him food or drinks, as well as you and Frisk. And they were starting to give up. But Sans refused to give up on his brother. Frisk long ago promised not to reset. It got to the point where Sans didn't really believe them, because they had promised countless times, and well, genocide and genocide. You knew very well about the resets. Every time it happened, you didn't remember anything, though. Sans had to tell you over and over again. You were there when you witnessed, with Sans, Frisk break the reset button, meaning that whatever happens in this timeline stays permanent. They wouldn't know how to save or reload. And this finally made Sans feel like he was free. But now all of this problem happened with Papyrus, and it was all going downhill. Sans, at the instant, begged Frisk countless times to reset, but Frisk felt bad, even sick to the stomach about the fact that they couldn't, and even remind Sans about the fact that whatever happens is permanent. Sans sat there, emotionless and broken. Even Frisk said this was more broken than the time of genocides. They've never seen him so broken. The thing about Sans and the genocides was, even though he was still broken and emotionless and hated Frisk for those genocides, he knew that he'd be able to bring his brother back, because Frisk would just play again, and again, and again. But this time it's permanent. They're scared. Once you arrived into the room, Sans was asleep. He must have passed out from exhaustion. 2 weeks of no sleep or food would probably do that. It's not good on his health, as he only has 1 HP and relies on sleep to heal him a lot. You decide to leave the coffee on the side and let Sans sleep. But as you try to leave, you hear beeping and Alphys run past you. A lot of commotion happened, screaming back and forth. Oh no! Oh crap! You rushed in. Alphys, what's going on? Sans was fully out cold. He didn't know what to do. He was exhausted and tired, but the beeping did wake him up. What? He saw Papyrus shaking violently. It seemed he was having a seizure. Sans was holding down his body. Alphys, fucking do something, now! I'm trying. Hours passed. And me, Alphys, and Sans got to witness Papyrus dust. Sans sat there motionless. He cried for hours and hours and days and days. A week went by. He hadn't left the room, and he had gathered all his dust into a jar, with a note that said Papyrus on it. He hugged it to himself and never left the room. Alphys wasn't allowed in the room. Sans refused to even look at her. He blamed her for not saving Papyrus. Sans, you can't blame Alphys. She did her very best, her very, very best to help. She failed. She's supposed to be a royal scientist. She's a failure. Sans! That is your friend over there. How dare you? Don't come to me about how dare you. You don't understand what's happened. I know very well what's happened, Sans. And I am very much sorry about what's happened. But you need to stop treating everyone like trash. Sans used a blue attack and slammed you outside the room, pinning the door shut. Sans, open the door! Sans. Fuck. You felt hopeless. This had gone on for weeks, and Sans had just... He was grieving. He was grieving, and by himself. He had no one. That's what he believed. Why, Anne? How is he? He's worse than I've ever seen. I mean, how do you think he's going to be, Alphys? He just lost his brother, his only family. I'm sorry, Wyatt. I failed to save him. He was a dear friend. Does anyone know, Alphys? No. Sans refused to tell anyone. He told me not to say anything, and I didn't. He won't look at me anymore. Alphys, I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think he will ever look at you the same. I'd say give it a couple years before he even decides to be better, to move on. He'll never move on. We all know that. You, Wyan. Yes? You don't know Sans the way I do. Papyrus was his everything. His world. Frisk has been crying ever since. Toriel knows and is crying still. And I feel, yet again, like a failure. First it was the Macamates, and now it's Papyrus. Why did it ask or trust me to be a scientist, a healer? Just a failure. You did your best, Alphys. You did your best, your very best to help him. And that's all you could do. Papyrus was very close to me, and now he's gone. I don't know what to do. All I know is Sans has it the hardest. I know. I'm gonna head off now. Good luck. And wish Sans my best. I will do, Alphys. I'll see you later. More weeks passed. Sans barely ate or moved. The only thing he could do was look through the window of the door. He refused to open it. He just sat there staring at the jar 24/7. Frisk spent all their time outside, back in the underground, trying to feel as determined as they ever did, figuring out if they can regain the possession of the reset button, if they can regenerate it. Something, just so they can reset again. They should have never destroyed that button. It never did any good. More weeks passed, and eventually I'd woken up, got changed, and headed to the lab again. Sans wasn't there for once. There was a note. It was the suicide note. Dear YN, I'm sorry to say this, but I can't do this anymore. You know the torture I went through, knowing that my brother was dead, over and over again. But at least the only hope I had was knowing that he would come back to me when I would die. No, Sans. No. You ran out the room. You ran as fast as you can. You didn't know where he was. But as you continued to read the note, he dropped hints. Papyrus is up high now. Really high. Somewhere better. Somewhere familiar. And so I shall be too. I'll climb high. Climb as high as I can, near where home used to be. I'll see him again. I'll see him again. I promise you I'll see him again. Maybe if I was to join him, he'd come back. Maybe if I was to be with him, he'd be back in my arms. Maybe if I die, just like those genocides, I'd wake up back in home. Back with him. I know I'll never be free, no matter if the button's broken or not. I'll never truly be free without him. If anything, the surface wasn't my freedom, it was Papyrus. Papyrus was my freedom. And now he's gone. I'm trapped again. I'm broken and trapped. A skeleton of trauma is on me right now. Wait, I can't seem to make any more puns than that. If you find me, please save me from this hell. You knew where he was, and you ran. You ran as fast as your legs could take you. You wasn't much of an exerciser or a runner, but from all the training you had endured during the underground with Undine, you had definitely boosted your stamina. You made it to the mountain, to the cliff, but before you could even make it, you saw Sans running off. He looked so happy. You screamed, "Sans!" But before anything could even happen, he had jumped off the cliff. No, not jumped, dived. Like he was expecting something. Like he was jumping towards something. And he hadn't even noticed the cliff. You saw him fall and you ran to the edge of the cliff. But when you looked over, you didn't see Sans anymore. You turned around and you saw Sans hit the ground. He had teleported, probably from instinct. Sans! What on earth were you thinking? You hugged Sans, holding him tight. Sans, what were you thinking? What? You were in shock. You couldn't even express anything. You couldn't... You struggled to breathe from the shock that you endured. Your own boyfriend tried to murder himself. And you expected it. That's why you kept a close eye on Sans. But once you slipped away, he slipped out of your grasp and did it. I saw him. What? He was there. He was in my arms. He was there. I saw Papyrus. He was right there. Didn't you see him? I was getting him. He was in my arms again. But I saw the rocks and I teleported. I saw. You almost died. That's what I saw. You wanted to slap Sans. You wanted to hurt him just to put some sense into his skull. But you spoke calmly. Tears threatening to fall from your face. You tried to contain all your bad feelings, all these negative feelings. You knew he needed support more than anyone. So you held him. No matter how much he tried to claw out of your grasp, you held him. Sans. No. He's there. Can't you see him? He's there. Hey, Papyrus! Please. Please. He's right there. Sans, he's not there. Please. I need him. More than anything. Please. Why him? Why not me? Why did they have to take him? Why is it always him? I know, Sans. I know. I'm sorry. Please. He's not there, Sans. And if you and me know Papyrus best, we know he would never want you to do this. Ever. You need to snap out of it. If you're going to mourn him, at least do it in a better way. I can't do this. I can't do without him. We'll figure out a way to reset. Frisk's been doing it ever since his death. He's not dead, he's just sleeping. Look, I have him in my arms. He's sleeping. He's just calm down. Just breathe. Breathe, Sans. Breathe. That's better, Sans. Keep doing it. Just breathe. It's okay, just let it out. Please. Sans that day cried for hours. Hours and hours until the next day came through. He cried so much he passed out in your arms from exhaustion. You picked him up along with the dust of papyrus in the jar and went home. You cleaned his face and changed him into pajamas and tucked him in bed, leaving Papyrus on the side next to him, so he's close. You just sat there, 3 a.m. in the morning, just sat there staring at Sans, in shock. Sans is so broken, so traumatized and alone. Even if he loves you, you knew you can't compare to Papyrus. And you never once felt bad about that. Papyrus was his everything. And now he has nothing. He has you, of course, but it just isn't the same. And even you knew this. You just wanted to make sure Sans was safe. You watched Sans sleep the whole day away, making some soup, knowing he might have made himself sick, from lack of food and exhaustion. Once he woke up, he was sick, and you took care of him until he was right back better. But he refused to leave the bed, cuddling Papyrus 24/7. You fed him soup here and there throughout the days, but he only ate little and just cuddled Papyrus. Sans, how are you feeling? I want to die. I know. Why won't you let me go? Because Papyrus wouldn't want that. You don't know that! You... Sans. Sorry. I miss him. I know. I'll never be anything near as important as he was. I know that. Everyone knows that. But no matter what, I won't ever give up on you. Nor will Frisk. Frisk is trying their hardest to figure out how to do it without affecting something in the system. I'm scared that he's gone permanently. I don't know what to do. You cuddle Sans. And Sans cuddles you with Papyrus in his arms, the dust in the jar remaining. You lay there for a good 30 minutes, but it felt like hours had passed. Sans? Yeah. You gonna try to eat something? I'm not hungry. For me? Please? Papyrus would never want you to starve. Fine. You found it easier to take care of Sans by using the Papyrus excuse. You felt bad, but you knew that you wasn't in the wrong, because Papyrus himself would probably want Sans to not starve, or to feel this way. So you felt entitled to say Papyrus wouldn't want this or that, because it's true. And you didn't use it all the time, only when necessary, such as when you needed to feed Sans, or when you needed to bathe, or drink, or something, or even leave the bed. Sans barely left the bed. The closest to leaving the bed was probably going to the bathroom to shower. If anything, you had to help him shower, because he just didn't move. He was like a rotting corpse. He was tired all the time, and Frisk had never seen Sans in such a state. It scared them. I'm gonna leave it here because it's 25 minutes in and I don't want to make it too long. I hope you enjoyed this Sounds Like Ex-Listener, and I'm glad to be a little bit back. It's nice to do this again because it's been a while since the last time I made it. So thank you for listening and watching if you made it this far, and I hope you have a good night, evening, morning, or afternoon. Thank you again for watching, and good night from where I am. Bye!